I need to start off the show by mentioning that we today heard the tragic news about Rectful. I struggled with going ahead with the show today, as the news has stayed with me, as it did many people, and for different reasons. Suicide is very serious, and I've known people who have passed away by it, and I know so many of you do as well. My DMs are always open. I want to talk with you if you want to talk. I will also be posting a link in the show notes to a page at suicidestop.com with links to hotlines for each country, and a friend has shared more resources, which will be included as well. Like my friend Zoo on Twitter has said, there is not one answer. There are hotlines, there's reaching out to friends, there are friends reaching out to you, there is therapy, and there's more. There is also work that needs to be done for us to create a non-toxic gaming community. Removing insults, dropping the jokes, and many other things. The toxicity is there, and we need to stop it. I was just talking with the streamer who was just talking about how they banned someone last night for being toxic. What you say matters. Every word matters. I can't speak for others, but I can say words have been said to me in streaming and podcasting that have stung deep. Okay, the reason I am going ahead, though, is I need to talk with other people. Friendships are one of the things that keeps me going in my life. This podcast and the live recording are there for others. And by going ahead, I want to further enhance the community. I want to introduce you to people that in the community that are amazing and wonderful. And one of those people tonight is LanceBlizzGamer. They are always warm and welcoming. I'm glad to have you here tonight, my friend.
Glad to be here. By the way, everybody, if you didn't know, I do work at Blizzard. I'm a Blizzard employee, but this is just me. This is me, Lance, talking. Like I told you earlier, this is my first podcast.
I remember at BlizzCon, you were one of the first ones to give me a hug, and I've never forgotten that. I mean, just like a hug that was like both warm and welcoming. Like ever since then, I've said, Blizzard is the people. Blizzard is the love that I feel.
I really appreciate that. And that's the biggest thing for me as far as BlizzCon has always been, is my ability to try to talk to the community, just find out what's going on in the community. Because ideally, for me, being able to talk to the community, visiting people that I've just normally just talked to on social media or Twitter or whichever, to be able to actually see them face to face. And often we've talked about hugs prior. So when we get to give a hug, it's that connection. Been a big deal for me. Missing BlizzCon this year is another tough spot. But again, just the community has still been so supportive of things that I've done that it's been really amazing. Really enjoy it.
There's a segment of the show that I always love to go through because it's fun to see what people are up to. Epic Insanity. What time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea.
I've had a lot of fun playing Dungeons & Dragons. Some people that I actually met through social media and then met at BlizzCon and then met at DreamHacks. They invited me to a D&D group, and we play on Roll20, so it works out that we can just all jump on and it still be the proper 6 feet apart, or in some cases, states apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. They're using the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons World of Warcraft edition. So I'm playing an orc warrior, surprise, and it's a lot of fun. I hit things really hard and hope that they go away and don't hit me back. So, yeah.
I just saw a friend, they wrote a warrior named Hits Things. I was like, I love it.
Understand. Kill Wrath here, but that still works out. And then obviously my Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I still enjoy Battlegrounds a lot, so I play and stream that a lot. And then my wife wanted something different to do. So we started doing watercolors. So we'll just sit down and have like the rough drawing of something that's just etched out, and then we just color it.
Like a Zen or meditation?
It can be. It's just, we normally put on music. We had on actually a bunch of Hawaiian music the last time, and I painted a lion. She painted an oceanscape, and it's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. And Scruffy's asking about Let's Make Art. It's monthly watercolor subscription box.
Not familiar with that. My wife would probably be excited about that. I had seen an image of a rainbow lion, like the entire lion's mane was kind of rainbowed out. And so I took the sketch of a lion and then just did all rainbow.
Nice. I mean, because I've seen you art, that you do art. Like I did not mention on here, but like your coffee notes that like, I see you always do little drawings on that.
That's very different. I am not an artist, but I do enjoy just kind of sketching here and there. But coffee notes, just coming out with the right quote that I want to talk about, and then trying to make art that matches to it and being able to turn those out. Obviously, I'm normally 3 or 4 a week is they're done, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I always want to have the words and then art secondary to that.
And I always love how you put on Twitter and Instagram because it gets a wider reach. And like there are times that I'll be going through my week and I'll see that. And actually, I've I've used that as inspiration for my inspirational podcast. So you've been a huge inspiration for me.
Coffee Notes will hit 8 years in August.
Wow. Do you have like a list of things that you go to for the notes, or do you just like find things that you like?
Sometimes I just reach back, like out, because I mean, after 8 years, you'll find a quote that actually becomes even important to me at the time, and then it's something that happens in the real world and then becomes relevant again. Or I just hear or see something that like strikes a nerve, and it's something that I want to put out there. Normally something that is happening real time. And then I often also, big surprise, all the Blizzard stuff, I will also go ahead and introduce like a Fellfire or a whatever. Whenever something new pops on for our side, it normally takes first stance in front of that, unless there's something really big going on. And then I will definitely wipe a motivational quote to match that.
And Jared's saying that he always looks forward to it. And I think like you and Scruffy are somebody that has consistently done something positive, and it really shows. I bet like the engagement that like not everyone will put a like on it, but that more people see it than that, and it's somewhere in your brain when you read it.
It's cool. Yesterday was crazy because I order Player One coffee. I like Player One coffee. I like it. I order it. The box came yesterday. I'm like, cool, got my new coffee. I'm ready. Open the box, and there is a coffee note in the box because the person loading the box recognized my order and my name and actually wrote a coffee note and put it inside the box, was delivered with my coffee. So I was like, okay, that's pretty crazy. It was awesome. Yes. And I posted it. It was a shock because you open the box. It's like, how is there a coffee note in the box? So it was really cool. And I thanked them. I posted a thank you to Player One for sending that.
And Scruffy's asking, do you have a file where you've kept all your notes from the past?
I have everything in my full Instagram folder. So everything gets posted. I don't save the notes, but when we moved buildings, we were in the BattleNet building and we moved across the street. They actually took all of the notes that were covering like an entire wall. Cause all I did is I put them on the coffee pot and take the picture and I'm done. But people were peeling them off the coffee pot and sticking them on cabinets. And so the cabinets became just covered with coffee notes. And then we went to move buildings. They actually filled 3 poster boards with coffee note stickers, put it under the plastic, and then got a little thing from our lore group that said coffee notes done by pen and pencil by Lance Kimberlin. And so I have that picture of the 3 poster board stuff. That was really cool. It's been fun. It has been a really fun experience that just keeps going.
And Mr. GQ is asking, what did the note say from Player One Coffee?
Basically, anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you. And they did the hashtag coffee notes and thanks, Lance.
That's awesome.
It was really cool.
I was playing a game this week that called Horus. I don't know if you've ever played Horus.
I haven't, but I think I've seen it.
I got it for free on Epic, and it's also on Steam. And it's like a 15-hour game. It's like 2 people, and they made it like based off of different games. Like you see references here and there. But like at the top of every chapter is a quote, and it kind of sets the tone. And I'm like, it's amazing the power of quotes. You really like, there's a lot more to that. And you always wonder if the person who made that quote ever expected it to live on past that phrase or that book.
Yeah.
And then in WoW, I will start with the one thing, but then I'm going to go into the even cooler thing. So I do mount runs. I'm always trying to get like that next mount in WoW. So I got the Swift Fright Hawkstrider from Magister's Terrace. So I can stop running that, except there's still like toys and stuff I got to get in there. And I got the spawn of Horadon from Throne of Thunder. Both of those in one night. I'm thinking it must be that lucky Quillen cub that I got from the BattleNet store that's on sale right now. Then on Saturday, I ran the 6th annual troll run, and I just have to say it is amazing to see the community come together and like see people running around. Like there's rainbows all over the place. I was speechless. I mean, like I was there with like friends and voice. And also like people in chat, and we were all just running, and like some people in chat were also running along, and it was just so cool seeing thousands and thousands of trolls running together in solidarity. Just like today, seeing the scenes in the different places, it's amazing when this community comes together in solidarity, and like I love that we're all separated, but we can all be together in the same game.
Yeah, it's amazing. Always good to see the community come together, especially for positive things.
Yeah. I wanted to know, how did you get into gaming?
That's a long time ago because I'm a grandfather, which most people know, but not everybody does. I started on a Commodore 128.
Wow.
That was my first computer that I owned. Had a massive 14.4 baud modem that just made the best buzzing, hissing sounds when it connected to the internet. It's amazing. So, yeah, basically some of the most games I played on it. I had almost all the SSI D&D games, which were really kind of like mapping, moving a few steps above the Atari version of Dungeons and Dragons, but it was still fun. And then Bard's Tale was really good, except that you had to hand draw your map out. Like I had my D&D book out so that I could use the graph to graph through a lot of the mazes that they had in it. And Card Wars. I had played Card Wars as a board game. They had that, and it actually run pretty good. Basically, it was kind of like Hot Wheels meets Road Warrior, and you would go out and fight your way from point A to point B, and you could pick up stuff off of other cars and bring it back and have your car upgraded.
That reminds me of, I think it's Twisted Metal on PlayStation.
There's a lot of games that have come out since, but this was, again, 85, 86. So a day or two ago.
Yeah, a day or two ago. I don't think I was even born then. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
I'm still young. I mean, that's not too far off from when a certain company started. Now, how did you get from the Card Wars to Blizzard/World of Warcraft games?
So actually, I had moved out to California to teach martial arts. So my reason that I came to California was actually to be a martial arts instructor.
Ooh.
So I started doing that first. And a friend of mine was like, hey, I've got this cool game and you should try it out. And I went, well, you have a Mac, so your discs aren't going to work on mine. And he wasn't a real computer savvy person. So I was like, being the real, I'm going to inform you. And he goes, no, you just have to flip the disc over. And I'm like, I don't think so. I've never seen a two-sided disc for a PC or a Mac. And he was right, and I was wrong. Yeah, so that's how I played Warcraft Orc and Humans, because it's a dual-sided disc that will play in either format.
I don't think I've actually ever heard of a dual-sided disc, because this is the first time I've heard of it. Because like I remember like when I got into gaming, we were getting into like 2 and 3 CDs. Like I think WoW was like 4 CDs to install. 4 to 6, I think.
It grew, yeah.
And from there, did you play World of Warcraft?
I did. I interviewed for a position at Blizzard that was in finance because I was working in a bank by this time, which was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Did not get that position, but did want to play World of Warcraft. So we got in that big long line that was at Fry's out here that wrapped around the Fry's like 2 times and went in and got my official, this is before I was working at Blizzard, but I got my first collector's edition. So got my collector's edition original. I started playing it. And then a few months after I was playing it, a friend of mine was like, hey, you should apply for this job. It worked out.
Nice.
So it's been fun. I was big into Diablo 2, Diablo 3. Can't wait for Diablo 4.
Oh, yeah.
It just came out that every Blizzard game that I picked up, I enjoyed. Whether I was playing it on the single player, whether I was connecting up over a modem to play Warcraft 2, it was fun. Played all the way to the point where max level and was starting to look at raiding. Raiding did not fit well with my married lifestyle because my wife wasn't thrilled with me skipping dinners and stuff like that. So went back to being more casual and just regular, like 5-mans and stuff.
I remember like when I was raiding in Molten Core, my dad would bring up food and he would like see me just at my computer. Obviously, like a heal bot, I was just like heal, and he's like, okay, thank you, Dad.
Yeah. My wife was not so thrilled when she was like, it's dinner time, and I'm like, it's probably gonna be about another hour and a half. And no,
you can't do that.
It wasn't working out.
So raiding is not part of your play style, but what would you say is your play style in like WoW and in gaming?
It's just hanging out with friends. Early WoW, hanging out with Brave Server Robin's Men was that was the second guild I was ever in. The first guild kind of imploded between raiding, PvP, and stuff like that, which is not unusual. But Brave Sir Robin's Men still exists today. Yeah, it was the second group that I joined, and my first rogue that I had, Shadow Spawn, still exists, and it was a lot of fun.
I would definitely say that that's what I love doing the most too. Is like I don't raid, but it's always fun whenever I'm able to join a group, be with somebody, talk, because that interaction to me is more fun than anything else in the game. I mean, the game is fun, but I love the people.
The group that I was playing some PUBG with was like, you should come back and play World of Warcraft. And I'm like, I play it off and on. And they're like, no, you should come do some mythics with us. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I only have one max level character because I just didn't play that far into it. I played the story, listened to the story, then I was done. They pulled me back in. So I've actually done Mythic 2, I think is the biggest.
Nice.
It was fun being with people that I enjoy being with. The game just made it something to do while we were hanging out.
And we have somebody who helped you level. We have Knight.
Knight is correct.
Nice.
And I'm like, they're like, we're going in here. And I'm like, I have no idea what's about to happen. They're like, don't stand in stuff. I'm like, that much I remember.
So now I know the group you're with. You're with Knight and Kaya. Nice, because they've been trying to get me into PUBG.
Yeah, PUBG's fun too. It's just different.
Yeah.
And it is more about the people you play with. For me, it's about who I play with, not what I'm playing for the most part.
Another area that's fun to play with other people is Dungeons and Dragons. And you've done it on the computer, but you've also done it in the world.
Yeah, I definitely played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. It's put away safe, but I actually have the original boxed set of Dungeons and Dragons that was just Dungeons and Dragons. You could be an elf, a dwarf, or a human. Like I still have the dice. You actually have to use a crayon to color the edges of the dice so you can actually see the numbers. The red box. That's correct. So I have the original of that, and I played probably most time for years. We played for better part of 3.5 years for one campaign, and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons with some interesting caveats. Like the Dungeon Master was really big into armor making a difference, and armor class, and enclosing. Some of the things that have been looked at through 5 now, through 5th edition, but just making a difference. If I attack you with a dagger and you've got a 2-handed sword, I move faster than you, but you've got a lot more reach. So he actually added that into your THATCO rolls, what type of weapon you were using matched with length of weapon and speed of weapon and things like that. So it was a lot of fun. So yeah, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons with my high school friends, and then all the way up to some college friends and stuff we played.
What got you into Dungeons and Dragons?
There was a lot of really cool movies and TV shows. The Lord of the Rings cartoon was just awesome. This was me growing up, right? So this is the 70s. A lot of those things all had something to do with my first blockbuster was Star Wars. So, you got a magic user swinging a magic sword. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. It's as close as I could get. It's the only game I could get to be as close as a lot of the movies and fun things that I like to watch. Krull, to name movies that most people don't know anymore, but unless you've gone back and watched some very old hokey Dungeons and Dragons type movies, ultimately those opened up that fantasy world for me to read Lord of the Rings and to move through the Sinbad pirate series and things like that. So Highlander, but a little bit later, but yes, definitely have watched all the Highlanders. All of that brought me back around to actually doing the actual version that I had at the time, because there didn't have good enough internet connections or video games at the time. That was Dungeons and Dragons. That was the creation, the time.
It's had so many variants, but it's amazing what it's spawned over the years.
Yeah, the original Gary Gygax form that continued to grow through Wizards of the Coast and everything else has just been insane.
What would you say is one of your favorite campaigns?
I was actually playing a ranger in that particular campaign. It was a lot of fun. We just kept playing through full sets. Level 1 started in the first Skeletons and Zombies series. And then my favorite piece of that as we were leveling was the giants. In fact, I have that module, but it takes you from the hill giants all the way up through fire giants. And it is a very well done campaign. You level appropriately. It's dangerous, but if you play it smart, you continue to level, you continue to grow. That was really, really probably my absolute favorite campaign.
What would you say is one of the funniest moments in a group that you've been in?
Our DM really enjoyed illusionists. We'd miss stuff because it was hidden behind an illusionary wall. one of the main bad guys, villains that we were chasing through all of these different things, because not only did he use the module, but he would introduce NPCs that would come in and be part of the driver of why we were going to these other places. And one of those main villains at the time, for the right word, was an illusionist. And so there was always things that you just wouldn't expect. They just pop up, the stone step was actually a chest and we missed it and seemed we missed some cool loot, but it was always something. And so, we're being cautious, we're being quiet, we're walking through, but we're in a castle. We're not underground. We're not where we would expect to find outdoor monsters. We come up to 2 large double doors, and as we basically thief checks them, no traps, open it up quietly, sneaks in, there's a black dragon sleeping on a pedestal. You're like, inside the castle, and we're like looking, it's no open roof, it's not like an open cage, it's like, and at that particular time, our warrior was just so mad because I think it was a girdle of strength that he missed in that illusionist chest and stuff. And so he just was, I'm tired of this. And he's like, it's an illusion. And he just takes 3 steps into the room, draws back, punches the illusion. I dispel you. But amazingly enough, if you do 2 points of damage to a black dragon by punching it in the nose, it gets a little pissed. I'm just going to throw that out there. You're not going to talk your way through that anymore. And it was a real black dragon, and we really did have to fight it. And the warrior got really beat up, a lot of acid damage. But, it happens. It was funny later. Wasn't thrilling at the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And yeah, like Scruffy's laughing too.
It was funny later. The immediate roll for initiative after you punch a black dragon is a little bit different exciting level that they're looking for at that point.
As we mentioned earlier in the episode, you work at Blizzard, and I wanted to ask, how did you get started working at Blizzard?
Had a buddy that worked with me at the bank, because I told you before I was in finance. Worked with him at the bank. He left the bank to go work for PlayStation, and then Blizzard called him because he was trying for 2 different positions. PlayStation hired him. He worked there for 3 months and then went to Blizzard for their tech group. And he was like, hey, customer service, I know you didn't get that finance position, but customer service is looking for people. And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, it's probably just like a level 1 rep, but you get in the door. And there's tons of growth. WoW Effect had just launched. So I had bought my original. This was 2 weeks after launch day. So I went in to apply, walked in. 2 individuals that interviewed me were like, yeah, we'll hire you on the spot. You have way more experience and everything else. They were like, we're hoping you can handle about 30, 40 calls a day. And I'm like, I handle 100 calls a day at the job I do now. So I don't think that'd be a problem. But they were like, but we don't pay a lot. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to talk to my wife before I accept that, because that's like less than half of what I'm making right now. But talk to my wife. My wife's like, you really don't like your job in finance. I was in collections, the collection side of finance. So if you weren't making your car payments or you weren't making your home equity car payments, I would call you.
Yeah.
It's not a fun job. And that was right at the beginning of the bubble. Because of the way that they were doing kind of predatory lending, people had taken out some bad loans. They took out more money from their house than their house was actually valued at. So there was a lot of stuff going on, a really lot of bad calls. And she's like, you really don't like your job. Let's try it. I give you a year. Go spend a year at Blizzard and see how that works out for you. And in August, it'll be 15 years. So I guess it worked out.
Congratulations. Nice.
Thanks. I'll get my ring.
Nice. I've seen pictures of those, and those look amazing.
They do look really amazing. I'll be very glad. I hope they actually ship it to me and they don't leave it at the office for me. I have to go pick it up in a few months or whenever that day will be.
One of the years you get a sword. I know that.
Sword for 5. I've had that for a while. Shield at 10. I had that for almost 5 years. Then you get the ring. Then the crown, which kind of looks like that Arthas spike with the blue stone set in the center of it.
Oh, cool.
And then they were originally looking at a mace for 25, but I don't think that they could make it the way that they wanted. So I don't know what it will be at that point.
How far away are we from the 25? Because we're not that far away, I don't think.
No. There's some people that would qualify shortly.
Nice. That is quite a history. I mean, just like, it's incredible.
Well, it's funny because it's like Samwise, people that came in as like teenagers drawing comic book art and just have never left.
Yeah. So something that I bet people are curious at is, what do you do at Blizzard?
My official title is product manager. What that really comes down to is the product that I'm in charge of right now is game stats and competition, which people are like, whatever that is. Ultimately, it's game data. If you go to our dev portal, where you get the APIs that people use to make really cool guild sites and all these other type things. And I mean, somebody might have heard of like Wowhead. I think somebody might have heard of them.
Yeah, might have.
Basically, it's all the game data that exists that we share out. And my team is responsible for making sure that that stays up to date, proper, stored effectively, all of the different things that go with that. So that's my product. That's what we're in charge of. Prior to that, I was, again, came in as a customer service rep. And then 9 months in, I became a senior, which means I had a team of 15. And then became a team manager, which then I had 2 teams reporting to me. And so had 32 reports, which gets a little interesting. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then customer service broke into, they created what they called the GCSO, which was the Global Customer Service Group. We helped set connections through, needless to say, the problems that US has is not always the problems that EU has.
Makes sense.
There can be translations differences. There can be a lot of different things, but we were basically looking to make sure that everybody was informed equally with all of the problems in all the regions. And so that's what that PMO became. And so that's when my title switched to being a project manager. So basically it was just I was a project manager over web and mobile. I would talk to the web and mobile team, see what was coming, what website's going to launch, what they're doing, this, that, share that information with all the customer service departments so that it would be, everybody was up to date. Hey, this is coming. And how should we expect to deal with it? Went from project manager to then actually working for the web and mobile team. And the web and mobile team, instead of using PMs, they had producers because web and mobile was just like a dissection at the time off from game teams. So game teams use production or producer. Then I became a producer. And then they changed their titles. They said, you know what, we probably should be more office organized. And so then I became a program manager and now project. So I've got all the PMs covered. I've done all the PM jobs.
Nice. Are you over like one game or you're over all the games?
For us, any game that exposes its game data. So all the games.
Okay. That's quite a lot of data.
Yeah. And then the game stats portion of it and competition. We also originally, before we took over game data, we were the esports, all the esports data. So everything you see that comes across OWL, all of those different things.
Nice.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
What has been one of the best moments from working at Blizzard?
There are a lot. I've made a lot of really good friends. I've met a lot of really cool people. BlizzCon's always a high point. And for 4 years, I was part of the BlizzCon teams that were building the websites for BlizzCon. The one that I always remember. I mean, I enjoy BlizzCons and I have little points for all of them. But the announcement of Overwatch.
Oh, yes.
And we're turning all those sites on live at the time.
Wow.
We can't turn them on until they announce them. So we're watching the announcements on big screen TV while we're at our computers, making sure that everything comes on correctly, because we have to get the YouTubes to live. We have to, because there's going to show links, right? When he announces, all of a sudden, go to this page. How many million of people are going to come to that page? And it has to be up and be ready to support it. So it was crazy. It was awesome because we're watching the reaction. We're hitting buttons and we're frantic to make sure everything comes up and that people aren't getting 404s, the site's not live, whatever. But at the same time, we're watching everybody's expression through the video, the expression of the announcement, and it's a new game type and the crowd. And it was really moving. And it was really, really awesome to just be part of launching the new game type. Was just like, wow, cool, we did this. We got that website up. We got the trailers and everything launched. It was a lot of fun.
I still remember at even like BlizzCon when Ian went back and changed his shirt to Shadowlands. You could just say his face was full of pride. I'm like, that's those moments. Yeah, you're like you're so excited what you've been working on. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, for us, we were the reveal, right? There was other teams that were actually handling the building of those sites, but the content team at the time inside of Web and Mobile was the ones that helped expose it. And I saw a question in the chat. We actually couldn't bring any of it live because it may surprise you, but people scrape our sites just a little bit.
Never. I have never been.
I've
never been involved in a discussion on Discord. Be like, oh, did you see this live? I've never been. No.
So nothing can go live early. So it was minutes between the time things went live and the announcement. And we had the speech that was being said so we could follow along to know roughly to where we could get it live.
Thank you to Madros for that question. And yeah, Madros says that must have been heart-stopping. And I
It was fun. I think we only recorded 2 404s. So like only 2 people hit the site and didn't get through before everything was spun up.
That's a pretty good error rate or whatever you would call it. I mean, that's a really good.
Yeah, it was again, volume. And actually they may have been up, but the volume hit so hard so fast that they may have got those errors too. So
yeah. And one thing that I want to ask you is, what advice would you give someone wanting to get into the gaming industry?
That's a tough question, especially with everything that this last few months has brought out as well. I can say this, just from a job standpoint. It doesn't matter what job you want, but ultimately what you want to do is you want to find somebody that does the job you think you want to do. So if you're like, I want to be a project manager, I want to be a product manager, I want to be a designer, find people, Blizzard or Riot or wherever else that you feel like would be the group of people that you would like to be around, and reach out through LinkedIn or through Twitter. We're just normal people that play games with me or D&D with me or Fraz for a hug at BlizzCon. I'm pretty easy to reach. I don't hide. I'm not stashed away somewhere. I'm just a guy that gets up and goes to work every day. So reach out. Now everything's through video conferencing, so they're probably in front of a computer, but ultimately make it a phone call, make it a walking phone call, have a coffee over video if that works best, and just ask, what do you do? How do you do it? What would you say about X or Y? And kind of get that feedback. What programs should you be aware of? What programs will help you? You might find out that that's not the job you were looking for. I mean, I know a lot of people in design, they're like, oh, I want to do this and I want to make games. And somebody goes, well, are you designing UI? Are you designing the trees? Are you designing the actual gameplay? That gets broken down a lot of different ways. So kind of getting a feel for that and what matches with you would be my first suggestion. And then once you get that, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do, start looking at different ways to train yourself to do it. And when I say train yourself, sure, there's schools, and those schools are probably really good for giving you information. I have gone to a lot of virtual classes on project management, getting my PMP, all of those things exist, and you should do that because you also want to know what the nuts and bolts of the actual job require. So be able to do that. Once you get those pieces together, that's when you know you're about ready to apply. And then those cool people that you talked to in the beginning probably have some type of working relationship with you at that point, if you've kind of made that connection. And they'll say, hey, guess what? Over here on this website, let me send you this link because we're looking for people. And then that sets that movement forward to actually being applying for a job that you're interested in. And the other thing I would suggest is sometimes the job you apply for, like I've known people that work at Blizzard now that didn't work at Blizzard first. They applied for Blizzard, didn't get it, went to another indie studio, did a couple of little things, came back and applied again, and then got it. It really is finding that work style kind of carries over. If you work in a gaming industry and you do something, whether it's for any game, it normally is going to transfer. Project managing at a bank and project managing at a game studio is not tremendously different. You're tracking different things, but you're still tracking things, right? Tracking, you're looking for risks, all of those different pieces and parts all still come together the same way. It's just the names are going to be very different, but still.
We have a mutual friend who started out in the industry and is now working at Blizzard, and they did similar to what you said, that they started working on their skills. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that's ideally it, because you never know. You never know. If I one of the first people that I was listening to for Well Met podcast, I got to meet him when he was working as an esports writer at Blizzard. Like, it was like, I know you. And so there's that, and it's still work. It's still a job, but it's a fun place to work. When you're there, I mean, now I'm working from home, which everything here around me is Blizzard as well after 15 years, but still, it's still a fun community. not just the community that we have around us in, Twitch and social media, but I just got finished with a 9 people. We were in a 9 people video meeting right before I switched over here. Was finishing out my day. Everybody's talking about what they're going to do for 4th of July, and we're just friends. They're just good people that we enjoy hanging out with. We're friends.
That's one reason why I've been loving following the life of Blizzard on Twitter, because it's cool to seeing when we get a glimpse into what it's like at Blizzard. And Major said, wait, you should be working at Blizzard if you're surrounded by Blizzard stuff. And he's looking around his place. Yeah, hey, Major, because I've got friends who are not working at Blizzard, and I'm so proud of them. So it's definitely interesting. And it's also interesting that you mentioned being surrounded by Blizzard stuff, because it makes a good setting for a stream.
It does.
And for those who are not aware, you do a fun stream. I rated you last night, and it was really cool, just because like you're laid back, but you're always that warm welcoming feel is there, and I love it. Like I can just have you on the background and like somebody that's friendly, and I always love that.
Appreciate it. I appreciate the raid always. As far as the streaming came about, I guess it's been 10 months now, which seems crazy. It doesn't seem like I was just doing it just the other day, but again, people that I met in social media, people were like, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that," and I'm like, I don't know. But Blizzard has classes. There's classes that you have to go to before you can stream. Even if you're just streaming for fun, you have to know, obviously all of the basics that you should be covering. To say that you work at Blizzard at the beginning of every stream, like little things like that you want to announce. So people don't think that I'm out like, you should play Blizzard games because I play Blizzard games. Like, well, no, I enjoy playing this game and it's fun. So it happens to be a Blizzard game, but ultimately I started streaming just for fun. And then some friends said, well, hey, you big supporter of the Border Collies in Need rescue dogs. And I'm like, yeah, so just set up everything for donations to them. And I'm like, cool, done. Anything that I get when I pick up bits or a few people that subscribe, thank you so much for those that you do. I appreciate it. Everything that I ever get that's in a positive fashion all goes directly to Border Collies in Need. So I just push everything back over to them. So when you get your little Twitch, I think it flips at $100, then I just donate that off. It's a way for me to be able to give back because I'm doing it for fun and for the community. And I tell you what, with everything after COVID, it helps. It helps to just sit down, chat with you, or in this particular case, just to stream and I'm just playing a game for fun. I'm just playing it for fun. If I do well, obviously I'm happier about doing well, but it's really about just having a good time, having fun, playing some Battlegrounds and chatting with people. It's what I do, and everything goes to Kaylee. She's my, if you ever have any issues with knowing that's my Kaylee that I just threw in chat.
Aww.
If you go to my hashtag, Daily Kaylee, she's always doing something silly, so I post that picture.
I've got a love for pets, and that I love following your tweets as well.
Try to get a Daily Kaylee picture out there pretty regularly, almost daily, if not every day.
And I love that you again have said why streaming is why I love streaming. It's that community, that it's not anything else but other than just sitting down and relaxing.
Yeah, it was really crazy because somebody was like, "Oh, I know somebody that has Elgato stuff. You should just get this. You don't need all voice, all this other stuff because you're just having fun." I'm like, okay. So got an Elgato, got voice mod. Cool. That works. Got a mic. Yep. Got a camera. Yeah. Okay. You're streaming. That's just pretty much how easy it is. I would throw out there for anybody that's thinking about streaming first of all, it's really easy. But second of all, you don't feel like you have to have a camera first. I did because it was in front of me, and so it worked out. A lot of people that I've talked to that weren't necessarily comfortable being on camera at first just started streaming with a mic just so they could talk and interact with the people in chat. And then they added a camera later. So again, it's a way to introduce yourself to it and see if you like it. Some games are really difficult to stream and be active with the chat, but that's okay as long as the chat knows that.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the people that I see in chat and yourself alone, way more than 10 months. You guys are the pros in this. I'm the old guy that figured out how to hit the button for slobs, and that's about it.
You have figured out the most important stuff. I think if you can, like, I've got a chocolate cam, and I think we need like a Kaylee cam.
Well, she doesn't come in very often, and she doesn't like the door shut. So when I shut the door to shut everything out, she's like, I'm not a fan of being locked in here. So she normally goes, but during the workday, it's really cool because obviously I'm working from this exact same spot. and she'll come in and she'll lay down behind me right before lunch because she's like, I'm going to get a walk soon, so I'll get really close so he can't escape without me.
That's awesome. I want to thank you again for joining me today. Time always seems to fly whenever I get excited for a podcast and then it goes by, but I have been looking forward to this, and it has been a great way to end today, and I appreciate that.
No, thank you again for having me. It's interesting. It's something new, but it was fun. So I really appreciate it. And I know everybody that watches you knows this, but you may have a little bit of a high energy, positive vibe, and that works for me.
Nice.
Because one of the things that when I was doing customer service, every morning I had the 6 a.m. shift, so it was early, and I would walk out on the floor and say, "It's another beautiful blizzard day." That would start the day. We'd turn the phones on, and that would be the fun day. Well, there's posters that we sent all around the world with sayings and blurbs. So another beautiful blizzard day has made it on a poster and been sent around to all of the customer service departments because we shared all of those. So it was really fun. So when I got a chance to go to Cork, Ireland, I visited Blizzard there in Cork. And sure enough, there was the poster with another beautiful blizzard day written on it. I was just like, that's pretty crazy to go halfway around the world and see a quote that I threw out when I was doing customer service for 5 years on the wall. It's been a lot of fun, but that high-end positive, the vibe that you give off, I like your coffee walks and things like that. It helps even more so this year, but it still just helps in general, just to have that feeling. Because sometimes days are tough, and being able to be around positive people, I think, is super beneficial.
And I think you just spoke again to the power of influence, that like your coffee notes, that quote, small things that in the creation of it seem like a small idea, but has had massive impact and reach.
It's really crazy. Like I said, 8 years. When I scroll through my Instagram, it's just this yellow, it just flashes by. So it's fun. I will leak this out to you. I didn't make the first coffee note.
Oh.
In customer service, there was a guy who was actually much more an artist, and he started doing the first few coffee notes, and I was just taking the picture of them. And then he took a position over at BI, and he's like, you need to keep doing the coffee notes. I picked them up, and I've kept doing them.
Just like in Olympics, carrying on the torch.
Yeah, it got passed to me. I just keep carrying it longer and longer.
And if people want to find the coffee notes, find your streams, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I am LanceBlizzGamer everywhere. I'm LanceBlizzGamer across the board. I picked that up, surprisingly enough, when a good friend of mine, Zombie Jester, said, you should have a Twitter account. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And as soon as I did LanceBlizzGamer, that's become my byline across. I go by Strong Coffee on Twitch, but it's actually LanceBlizzGamer, Strong Coffee. Across the board, LanceBlizzGamer, you can find me anywhere that you want to find me if you choose to find me. I would just say go with the hashtags of Daily Kaylee and Coffee Notes. You're good to go.
Activating customized Orphan Safe transporter.
Well, I am back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Nomergon.
Wow, I'm a gnome.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. Runs for the Uncorrupted Voidwing are happening right now. You can be like my friend Cardfreck who got one by following @FrenchAmount on Twitter to find when these runs happen. So get your AOTC before the Uncorrupted Voidwing takes flight with the Shadowlands pre-patch. And each of these groups is raising money for a different charity. In light of recent events, Perky Pugs is raising money for RAIN to support survivors of sexual violence. And my friend S. Mephisto has been working to achieve 100% of all plate appearances. So he decided to do an impromptu 24-hour stream for NAMI in support of mental health. He had an initial goal of 1,000 and he surpassed $3,300. He's still missing the 100% plate, but what an amazing warrior championing for a great cause. And right after he did an amazing event for ASAN in April. My friends Demeternoth and Brico have launched a new podcast called The Third Faction. It's all about the community, which is something that I am 100% for. They started with a very difficult, but a very needed topic. The sexual abuse and harassment that has been rampant in our community. I wish both of them success on this podcast, and I definitely recommend that you add this to your podcast app. While it has been working on a soulbind calculator for Shadowlands, you can head over and get a sense for what this new system will entail. While it has been doing an amazing work on these things. And WoW had reports that Sternbart is back again, this week with Northrend and Mist and Pandaria maps. These are highly detailed Atlas maps of Azeroth. And WoWhead also points to a new video by Noble87. There are lore spoilers in the video, but it's about the Pantheon of Death that Ian hinted when talking with Zoltan TV a while back. Check out Noble's video as they are amazing and really help you understand lore. I want to end this week's community section with a tweet by JB on Twitter. They said, just got a formal approval from Blizzard Entertainment to name one of my MDI Global Finals characters J.BLM. And they go on to say that in the wake of the Blitzchung fiasco last year, it makes me really proud that Blizzard has recognized that esports can be a force for positive social change and growth.
This has been another awesome episode of FrazlCast. Take it away, Frazzle Pants.
So on a personal note, I need to announce something this week. This is something incredibly scary for me to talk about here. It's been many years of searching and feeling broken, never understanding myself fully. This week, I have finally come out as being Aro Ace, which in the simplest terms, and again, there are many layers to this, but it essentially means asexual and aromantic. I've struggled with not wanting to enter relationships for a long time. Something in me just did not want to do it. And I never knew why. This past week, the troll run support for others, and then the friends who tweeted out links to articles, all of these have finally encouraged me to step into my new identity. I have talked with many friends about this and had some deep conversations on things in my life. This has encouraged me to finally come out and identify. It took me 30 years to realize it, but thank you for standing by me. And thank you for respecting me. And to all those who are struggling in their identity, I support you and my DMs are open. I'm the same Frazley as before. Nothing has changed about me other than gaining clarity on myself. And you may ask why I talk about my personal life on this show, but I bring it up as we've talked with people from different paths on this show. There is an aura of disrespect that I've seen in parts of the gaming community. I beg you, please, please, please respect others, from their identities, to their faith beliefs, to their likes and dislikes and more. Do not be a jerk. I've got worse words than jerk, but I don't want to use one of my limited curse words on jerks. I don't want to wear out the effect of cursing. The comments made to Reckful before he passed, and the comments made to Laura Bailey, these all need to stop. Now that that's out of the way, I do want to talk about some of the amazing reviews and shoutouts that I've received for FrazlCast. Thank you to Kara who said, you were buying a bunch of face masks and I thought, we need a version of the TKO game, but it does face masks instead of t-shirts. Oh, I would love this. I would absolutely love this. Frank's Hot Sauce says, I loved the episode yesterday. So many laughs. Caber76 said, very good show. I'm a blogger too, so now I'm intrigued to go read Panda's blog. And also, Frazley, you make me laugh so hard sometimes with your comments. It's great. I think this world needs more laughter. Keep up the great work. Aw, thank you. And this week, I got a bunch of new reviews on Apple Podcasts. The first one is a fun show and a crazy time. As someone who enjoys WoW enough to look for podcasts, this one is in my rotation. Great guests, great conversation, and the best part is that it's fun. I highly recommend it if you're looking for someone to listen to while in game. This is by Darth Brooks. The next one is titled Frazzletastic. What a brilliant podcast. Love the layout and the well-presented questions. Also love some of the puns Frazley does. Some of them are like, OMG, but wow, talk about cheese at times. Love this podcast. It has got me through some very boring drives, smiling and laughing. Keep it going, Frazley. And as you say, Bree awesome. That is from Comfy of Charactercraft. The next one is a smile each time. Frazley is the one person who can give you a smile each time with this fabulous podcast. This gnome is a solid foundation in the WoW community. And this one is from Syl of Whispers of War. The next one is, how many puns can you fit into one episode? This is one of the most delightful WoW podcasts around. How Frazley is never without a smile, has terrible puns, and has love for his guests. Highly recommend it for getting to know Frazley and the greater Warcraft fan community. And this is from Amanda of Geek Herring. Thank you all for those amazing words. Whether they were tweets, DMs, messages in chat, or these reviews, it all means a lot. Especially when you're working like all weekend to get the show out. It means a lot that you really do enjoy this. And I hope you know that I really do appreciate that. Thank you all. And right now, to encourage people to wear face masks, I've set up face masks for sale at TeePublic. I have put up the Be Awesome and the Bree Awesome masks. I wanted 2 positive sayings to hopefully replace a smile as you are helping others protect themselves while out in the world. You can find a link to them in the show notes. And I've already seen a few people buy them. Thank you to Jer and others who have mentioned that they got them. And over on Twitch, I am working with Pixel Girl Slays on Twitter and Twitch to run a charity event on July 25th. On that day, in honor of Breonna Taylor and others killed by police brutality and systemic racism, we will be joining a bunch of amazing streamers to raise money for Show Racism the Red Card and Black Minds Matter. I'm going to be streaming with Spaz Weston on July 25th at around 7 p.m. Eastern, and we will join the other streamers in raising money for the charities involved. There is a website to view all the streamers involved and how to donate, and if you want to get involved with this, you absolutely can. And also, Twitch has added community challenges. Instead of having one person redeem it all for those channel points or those Frazzle Dazzles, people can go together and work on those. I will be turning the pizza and Trials and Control into a community challenge in the future. The tattoo one's ready to go, but just like the pizza one, I'm actually waiting until better times to enable this reward. Some of these rewards were started before the current times that we're in, and I want to do these when it is safe to do so. Every week, I'd like to thank those who have given back to the show financially. Thank you to my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Allie at Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth, Amanda of Geek Herring, Bow Mistress, Burkhart, Cap, Chaotic Goodish, Crunk, Demeternoth, Epic Insanity of Frozen Nerds, Fiesta Taco 1983, Frank's Hot Sauce Guild, Grand Negus of Control Alt WoW, Arlo, Adi Chicken, Jenden, Carenza, KR Soli, Lucas of Cardiac Valley, Mal, Michael of 2 Nerds Maybe More and the Genome Project, Mikey128, Knight, New Chaos, Pandagosa, Pete of Storage on Azeroth, Pixel Girl Slays, Razarus, Rig of Charactercraft, Scissorlord, Sheba Brion, Sir Onion Knight, Taluin, Calvados, Talneroid, and Zorts the Goblin. And thank you to Cap and Scissorlord for the bits this week. If you want to support the show financially, please go to support.gnomepodcast.com. And if you have Twitch Prime to Amazon Prime, you can use your free Twitch Prime subscription on my channel and get access to ad-free viewing and awesome emotes. And all of your support goes to helping support this labor of love. Thank you so much. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. There you can catch past episodes and find out many of the places where you can subscribe to this show to get the Gnome Train coming to you every single week. Well, until next week, be awesome.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard Games, and they are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. This show is for the community, and it contains contributions from the community. The Gnome Train intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth. The opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock. The Gnome Roar is by Jen of Morally Grey Podcast. And the Frazzle Pants bumper at the end is by the Scruffy Druid of Loot Optional and Viral Voice Arts.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.
It's been fun. Farewell!